So if we can we can call to order, and then we can start the recording for Neat TV. So let's call to order at 6:01. We're in a little bit of a trick. It's supposed to be our annual meeting. So we need to elect officers, including a clerk who would take note of the 6:01. But in the absence, I'll take some very brief notes. And then if no one minds, I think we'll also move straight to business item I, the Edith Stock Trust, so that George Vince can talk to us about that first thing. Is that all right with everyone? Just move ahead to do that. Okay, let's go something out of order then.
And Carolyn, I'm taking notes, so you don't.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you. Okay. Didn't want you to start off the year on the wrong note-taking note. Okay, great. So George, please take it away.
Okay, so last time we were here, we talked about my intention to ask the probate court for the permission to terminate the Edith Stock Trust and transfer the money to the Conservation Commission. There was around $4,000 left at that time. It cost $87 plus to make that request under the new scheme, which is everything costs money in the courts. There's currently a balance of $39, $38, $49, and maybe a penny or two if it grows interest. That was granted. The court granted my request. In the meantime, I had emailed back and forth with Valerie, and Valerie indicated, or maybe you indicated, that you didn't have a checkbook per se, that the town had the checkbook and dedicated funds to the Conservation Commission, and that was the mechanics of it. So I asked the court to terminate the trust, number one, and number two, allow me to transfer the balance in the trust to the town on behalf of and in control of the Conservation Commission. And the judge granted that Tuesday, must have been. And then I got the order on that today from the court. So Valerie indicated that she was going to take that up with the select board on Monday next, the 15th. And so that's basically what we're waiting on. So hopefully that all comes about. I can't imagine that they would think otherwise, although one never knows, of course. And in addition to that, I had 18 birdhouses that I had bought. Long story short version, I bought them and they're still in my office. We had hoped to have them installed last year, but the COVID kind of kicked around our plans and access to high school people that were going to do something that then didn't and all that. So, so you now are about to have 18 birdhouses and presumably $3,900 and change to do with what you will. There's no real string on this. It's discretionary for the Conservation Commission. Presumably, and in spirit, it would be appropriate to do something that benefits the bird population of the town. I don't think that's hard to find, but it's not under the same conditions as the trust was set up, which was specifically to benefit the birds of Bristol.
If we're going to be taking ownership of these bird houses, would you be able to tell us like what you intended for them, or maybe like who these people at the high school are, so we could follow up with that project?
I could, well, I'm available, I'm around, I'm happy to talk about that with you. I had gone around Robin Hood's barn and talked to somebody at the Audubon in Huntington, and it just so happened that his daughter was a Bristol high school student in the environmental club, and she was gung-ho to take on the project, and either with or without the birdhouses, but to spearhead a project. That was option one. Option two, there was an Eagle Scout or Eagle Scout to be that needed a project, and I was trying to loop him in, and that didn't wound up not happening. So they're fresh, they're clean, they're new. The backstory, which I think is kind of fun, is that they were built by the prisoners at the Maine State Prison and sold at their prison store in Thomaston, Maine for a heck of a deal. And I couldn't resist, so I bought a bunch of them and brought them back to Vermont.
So how big is the volume of birdhouses? Like, how big of a space do you need to store these in?
Well, they're what are they? They're manageable, but it's going to take up a shelf. So they're 6 inches wide and 10 inches tall and 6 inches deep, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Common, they're at every craft fair that you've ever been to. Some guy is making
that kind.
Yeah, that guy's making them. But these are made by the prisoners. So that's one thing. I'm happy to share them with whoever is the point man or woman, and I can deliver. So maybe in that big house on Hewitt Road, maybe Jono's got room for him. I can deliver them to him, and he can be the keeper of the birdhouses.
George, you're very astute there. The house probably is not the best place, but I have an abundance of barns, so I'd be happy to store them.
Great.
Perfect.
That's great.
Well,
Thank you.
we can. What's your phone number, Jono? I'll give you a call at some point.
453-4535.
All right, I'll give you a call at some point, and we'll connect, and I'll bring them over. And
Sure.
Maybe we'll put them in the trout barn. We'll see.
They could go in there,
Okay.
along
It's
with lots of other stuff that's already
your
there.
call. You'll be the keeper of the birdhouses. So that's
Sure.
number one. Number two is that over the years, I have engaged Ken Clark, who is a fruit tree guy, to maintain the apple trees. He actually planted and maintained the apple trees at the Sycamore Park. So he pruned, he sprayed, etc., and he planted. And I now need to contact him and let him know that it's not my show anymore. I'm not running that show. So y'all might want to talk about that and decide whether you want him to keep doing that. You might want to take a look at it first, and just decide. It's not inexpensive, but it's for those of you that are fruit tree people, it certainly helps the process. So I'll mention that.
Could you also give us his contact info?
Yeah, he's on Route 7 South in Middlebury. If you go out 125 and make a left, you'll see on the right there's a guy that sells apple boxes, apples. He's got a spray truck in the front yard. It's right on Route 7, and his phone is 388-6583. 388-6583. Ken Clark's Fruit Tree Service. He's maintained my trees. I have a 19 tree orchard in Lincoln, and he's maintained those for 20-25 years and does a really good job.
I'm going to guess that I don't know that much about it, but that's not sprayed organically. It's done not in an organic way.
It's not an organic undertaking, no.
Okay.
So your call.
Cool. Okay. So the select board meeting is Monday, where you're going to talk about this, right? And then would you like us to be there, or some of us to be there as well?
I haven't asked Valerie. I would imagine that it's like no harm, no foul. Just do you want some money? Let's debate it. Maybe we don't want money. I don't know. I mean, but presumably it's sure. Let's take some money and
Sure.
and put it to a good cause. It's been oh, I forget how long. I think it was 2000. It might be close to 20 years that I've been administering this trust, and we've done a lot of stuff. And it was obviously more to start with, but we engaged Raycroft Meyer to do some design work down at Sycamore. We had Landshark do some road recovery. We got rid of some of the roads that were down in there. We created the barrier for traffic because people were coming in and being abusive to the landscape. We did a massive planting. We had Green Haven do a massive planting of bird-friendly species down there. And then we've maintained it, like I say, then we put up birdhouses like 2 or 3 times. We had the Boy Scouts and we had others that would take on that project. So it's been a good run, but you know, that much money doesn't replenish itself. It gets spent and then it's gone. And that's what's going to happen to this 4,000. It's going to get spent and gone, and you know, on something that'll last for a little while.
George, it sounds like you've got pretty good historical memory, but is there any documentation that I mean, it's a pretty extensive list over 20 years, and you just touched on a few things. It might be really helpful to have.
You know, I have a box of paper. And a lot of that has to do with the annual reporting to the court and different things like that. But I can go through that and extract things that I think would be helpful for you folks, not only in connection with these few dollars, but just generally speaking, so you know what has gone on. We have the Raycroft Meyer plans. That would be a good thing to archive, and then the plant list that we installed, also something good to archive and be aware of, and so forth.
Great.
Well, thank you. It sounds like you did a lot of work. Sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that we do have a management plan for the park that had some of these historical details about the Edith Stock Trust, but you've just mentioned a few things that I wasn't aware of, so it would be good to have that information to round out our management plan.
Yeah, well, I'd be happy to share that. It has to go someplace, so it might as well come to you.
Yep.
So who wants to be the keeper of the sacred paper?
Maybe if you drop it off with the birdhouses with Jono, or
I'm happy to hold on to it, Kristen, but I knowing how you're so versed in all things conservation, I think it might be best if it finds its way to you. But I'm perfectly fine. You know, they can cohabitate with the birdhouses. That's all right with me.
Why don't I do this? Because the birdhouses are easy. I'll connect with Jono in the next week or 2 or 3 and drop those off, and then it'll take me a little longer to sift through all the paper to come up with what's I think is appropriate and helpful. And Kristen and I can coordinate that, and I can drop them off to her.
yep, that'd be fine.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, it's exciting. You know, spend it wisely, but please spend it. Yeah.
We do have that problem. We do. We are frugal bunch here, so we'll do that.
George, thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to be the keepers in trust of those funds, and then just for giving us the background of all that's happened and your stewardship of those decades of time to dedicate it.
Thanks for saying that.
Thank you so much on behalf of all those that should know more.
Yeah, well, thanks for saying that. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very rewarding, and it's time to pass it along. It's not practical to keep it in the trust because it just gets eaten up with administrative fees. Over the past year and a half, I have waived my fees and donated my time on behalf of the trust just to be able to preserve that little bit that's left. So it's been a good deal.
Sounds like you've done right by it.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
we'll do our best as well.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, well, I'm going to sign off and maybe go watch the president's speech. I'll see.
Great. Thank you, George.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, everybody.
Thanks, George.
Okay, well, that was awesome. Does anyone have any, since we're still on this, is there anything else anyone wants to say about this before we move on?
I may have missed it. And this is not germane to your question, Carolyn, but I can see a birdhouse practically going in the background that Kristen has in her Adirondack chairs and everything. I gotta find out more how you did that, Kristen, at some point. That's pretty interesting.
It's not that hard. Okay, Alex, you had a question.
I was just gonna say, I think it would be a good thing, just because, you know, the first time I walked in there to Sycamore Park, there's a lot of stuff kind of going on, and you know, like the brochure and everything kind of gives a little bit of a history, but you know, what George was just providing us was a great, also like another great little piece of history on the park. So any kind of write up, you know, something that's, you know, just like a 1-page kind of summary of what the Edith Stock Trust has done for the park, and then laminate it and then just have it be a permanent kind of fixture in the bulletin board, would help fill that space. And, you know, people from out of town would just kind of wander through, and then that might be a good way to sort of extend that past whenever the 3900 disappears.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, you know, I think there was language on one of the websites, because do you remember I did that, well, actually, so I went through and tried to figure out all the information I could on the parks.
Mhm.
And I do think there was mention of the Edith Stock Trust doing birdhouses at that site somewhere. Like somewhere I found that info on the internet. So I'm hopeful that we can continue that, right? Like Alex, with this like web page, with the parks webpage, we could add a little blurb about that in the Sycamore part. And like you said, like just try to get, you know, get some of the history out. It's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex, have you noticed apple trees down there?
Yeah, there's that little grove right there. I never knew who was taking care of them, or if we're allowed to eat the apples or not. I'm like so excited to find the answer today.
I'll have to take a look, because they'll blossom really nicely, I suspect, if they've got good sun, probably around late April.
Yeah, there's, I don't know how many, 20 trees? I don't exactly know.
Maybe.
That's a good number.
Yeah, something like that. When you pull in the drive in the parking lot, you're like at the kiosk, you want to like go right and then like towards the river, like through the big field, and then they're right there in that field.
Do you know why apples were chosen to be planted there?
You're learning this with us, I think. Yeah.
I think it was
Not
because of the
particularly bird friendly. Birds have nothing to do with apple trees.
I don't know. I guess they thought that it would be beneficial. I don't know.
Do you know, Kristen, or anybody who knows more of the history of
Yeah, I mean, some birds love apples. I know the cedar waxwings take off with my apple trees and eat the blossoms. So I think birds must have had something to do with it, perhaps. But maybe the documents that George will share may provide some background on that.
Okay. So I'm new to this committee, and so I'll probably throw out a whole bunch of things that are irrelevant. But it seems odd to spend money to spray and maintain these apple trees when it sounds as though one of the original intents is to create bird habitat. And maybe we could spend that money or some of this 4,000 on planting things that will attract birds.
Yeah, I would be intrigued to see what's in that paperwork, what plantings there were. I mean, maybe it was part of a broader ecosystem approach of bringing bees or something. I really don't know.
Yeah, these would be reasonable, and deer surely like the apples, but other than that, I don't know. Are these cultivated apples? These aren't crab apples.
No, you can pick them, take a big bite out of them. I've seen them before.
Yeah, interesting. Huh.
I don't know. Okay, well, anyhow, there's lots. Let's keep this Edith Trust on here. We can talk about it. Let's keep it on the agenda, I think, for moving forward. we can brainstorm and think about it more and think about what we can do with these birdhouses as well, I think, right?
Did George say how much he paid Ken Clark to maintain these trees?
That it was not inexpensive.
Yeah. Yeah. So do we want to reevaluate spending that money? I don't know.
Well, maybe we could.
You got to know what not inexpensive means, and what else, what else there is to, to do maintenance wise at Sycamore Park with regards to what the trust had previously established there.
I can add in two pieces of information. One is, generally speaking, you've got to maintain apple trees, which is involved with pruning. The spraying, you could potentially let that go, but the apples can end up having scab and other issues. It doesn't mean that you might not still be able to benefit by harvesting some of those apples, but they're not going to be ones you display in a store. You would maybe kind of use them for either cider or making a pie, that type of thing. I've not seen these apples or trees. I don't really know, but in addition, they are habitat for birds. Birds will perch in the trees, not maybe specifically attracting, but birds will be in those trees. I've got 14 apple trees and 1 pear tree on my property, so I see birds in them quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm not denying that birds won't use them, but I think there are a lot of trees and shrubs that birds would use more.
Sure.
Well, it might be interesting to know what is being sprayed, and make sure that it's not detrimental.
Sure. Would someone like to, assuming we get the money officially worked out next week, would someone be interested in talking to Ken Clarks about what he's done there and what that costs?
Or George. George has that information, right?
Yeah,
I suppose he must. Yeah.
He might not have, as many details about what goes into the maintenance.
Right.
I don't know.
Or what the sprays are and so on.
Yeah. It does kind of seem like for the ecosystem in general, going with as organic an approach as possible would probably be best, unless they are really being used by people for eating. Not that you can't eat the organic ones too, but I don't know what the use of the trees.
I don't know if anyone. I think people snag them as they walk past, but that's about it, right, Alex? I don't know.
Yeah. The only experience I've had besides just walking by and seeing that there's apples on the tree is at the end of the season, maybe 2 years ago, there was a gentleman who came to Holly Hall with bags of apples and said, I picked these. It's like the end of the apple picking season. Do you guys want them? Because they're going to go back,
oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So that might've been this Jim Clark person. I don't know. I don't remember. But I think, some people are generally aware that Sycamore Park has apple trees and you can just pick however many you want. So yeah.
I've seen apples in the store that say ecologically grown. I think Champlain Valley Orchards is one of those. Obviously, you can purchase organic apples. So I think there's probably 3 ways that you can spray or somehow maintain apples, either organically, ecologically, which is kind of a little drop off, and then, probably just conventional. So.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be worth looking into just to find out,
Okay. Would you mind following up on this then? Would that be all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Did you get that? Or I think we can get the number in the minutes, or I can email it to you or something. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you. Cool. Okay, great. So Sally's going to follow up on this. Any other last thoughts before we move on? Because we do have a lot of other things to talk about tonight. Okay, great. Great. So let's move back to the beginning. Public comment period. Anyone have a public comment? Nope. Okay. Do you have any additional items to the agenda? Good, because we are already going long on time. Review and approval of minutes from February 11th. Does anyone have anything to say about that? How does it look? Does anyone want to move to approve the minutes?
I'm happy to move to approve the minutes.
Great. Is there a second?
We'll
Okay,
say-
Alex seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, motion passes. The minutes are approved February 11th. And correspondence, I do not believe we have any. Oh, there was correspondence about Eagle Park. We'll talk about that at Eagle Park time, I think. Okay, cool. So old business. Conservation Commission membership. We have a potential member here tonight. Helen Young was interested in joining. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're thinking about being on the commission?
Sure. I'm Helen Young. I live just south of Bristol on Lower Notch Road. I've lived in Bristol for 23 years. I'm a retired biology professor from Middlebury College. For many years, I served on the board of the Watershed Center, and for a while was president and co-president with David Brin of that. And I think that's the first time I dipped my toe in sort of local conservation issues and really enjoyed and appreciated that work. So I've been following Porter Knight's working on the trail around Bristol and very, very supportive of what she's trying to do and all of her energy and all of her ideas, and knew that people were leaving your board, and I wondered if you wanted help.
That sounds great. I'm trying to find, does anyone have any questions for Helen?
I can just offer Helen, and maybe it was something you're going to say anyhow, Carolyn, is that if you're wanting to move forward, then the next step would be to, I think there's a form that this.
Yeah, I'm finding the PDF online right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that the town would request that you fill out, and then after that, attending the select board meeting and really just relaying what you just told us. It's about as simple as that, and I can't see any reason why that would not be very much appreciated, and you would get the select board's nod.
Okay, so do you know anything about timing of this? There's a select board meeting coming up very soon.
Yeah, there's a select board meeting on the 15th, but it won't be in time. Like, no matter how fast you fill that form out, you're not going to make it to Monday, because they're always very full. So it'll probably end up being the meeting on the 30th or early next month, depending on when they can get you in. It's just you show up, they ask you a question or two, and that's it. It's a formality for our sake. They don't really care who's on the Conservation Commission, it seems.
Yeah.
Compared to some other commissions. Yeah, that's about it. I think the only rule is you have to live in Bristol. You have to be a resident of Bristol. And the bylaws also say you can't, if you miss 3 consecutive unexcused meetings, that then we can have the select board vote you out. But that doesn't happen very often. And certainly during COVID, anything goes. So, yeah, anything else?
So did you just post that in the chat?
I did. I put that in the chat. I put the link to the Town of Bristol forms. You'll see fairly far down, it says volunteer position form or something. You just fill that out.
Great. Okay.
And then, our meetings are the second Thursday of the month from 6 to about 7:30. They're usually in person in the Holly Howe conference room, but have been on Zoom because of COVID, and we'll see how long that goes. We're just following the select board's lead, so when they go back in person, we'll go back in person.
Okay.
Carolyn, would that bring us to 7, or are we still counting, I guess, technically Dave Rosen, and that would make us 8?
Yeah, if we count Dave and Melanie, that makes us, that
9?
makes us 9? Let me make sure. So, yeah, they're still on there. So, yeah, wait, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Helen would be 8, so we still have a 9th position open if Chris Urban wanted to join, or Caitlin Cusack, who are both interested but had not committed yet. Caitlin said she wanted to wait until after sugaring season, and Chris said he was having some childcare finagling to do. So whichever one reports back first, we'll have it. And then if the other one also, or someone new wants to be a member, we would then ask Dave and Melanie if they're still interested or not, or if they would rather pass the torch, since they are taking a bit of a hiatus for COVID-related issues.
So given that I'm not an official member of this committee, should I log off now?
I would invite you to stay and just it's helpful for context to continue with the meeting. And then furthermore, next meeting, you're always welcome to attend. And I just see it's a matter of timing, as Carolyn suggested, that maybe we just don't know how you'll end up on the agenda for the select board, but that's that sort of little formal part of the process. And then everything is all set from there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, and I think we learned recently it might be best to drop off the form in person, since the mail, they seem to have a hard time getting their mail recently.
And this is just at the town office?
Yeah. The Alex and Zaylee were like a little held up a bit getting.
Yeah, we sent ours in, and 2 weeks later, I got a message from Valerie being like, "We haven't gotten it yet, so."
They've got a Dropbox and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We just went and dropped another one off in person. I don't know if the first one ever got to her.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's like hard because the mail may be screwed up. Maybe things are just different in the office than usual. So it's all a little silly right now.
Luckily, it's right there.
It's right there. Exactly. Like we all are in Bristol, so it's not too far. Okay, that's great. So, and then we'll just see if we have those 2 potential members get back to us if they want to join as well. And then we would be getting pretty full again, which is a real load off our minds from some low membership. So it'll be great. So that means it is our annual meeting. So we need to elect officers. We need to elect a chair and a clerk. And there's the option to elect a vice chair as well, which I have pushed for in the past because I think it's important to have a vice chair in case the chair can't come. And then that's how I ended up being chair. But that wasn't the intention. That was because I thought it was important to have a vice chair to help run the meetings when the chair couldn't come. So this is my first time doing this part. What are our thoughts? Do we make motions? I guess someone makes a motion to nominate someone, or someone might volunteer for a position.
I'd like to nominate Carolyn to continue in her capacity as a chair. I think you've been doing a wonderful job, and this is the completion of your first year, and so very often it certainly can be done annually. I suppose that may be regular. Sometimes the terms can be longer, but that would be my sentiment.
Yeah, I second that. These meetings are running smoothly, and we seem to be doing a great job with it.
That's good. One of these days, I'm going to read that Robert's Rules and figure out what I'm doing. It'll be great.
Never heard of them. Carry on.
Exactly. Okay, so then Jono, is that a motion with a second from Alex?
It is.
Is
Put
there,
words in your mouth, but let's we got to formalize it a bit, I think, since it's the annual meeting.
can you actually technically, Carolyn, call for the vote for the position that you are being considered for?
Thank you. So I would like to call a vote for this. I just don't, this is the part I struggle with. Sorry. Okay.
I don't know either, but as vice chair,
let's call for a vote for the office of chair. And then because Jono has made that motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then all those opposed? Okay, so the motion passes that Carolyn Dash will remain chair. Moving to clerk or vice chair would be our next order of business. Clerk is required. I've always thought a vice chair was a great idea. I know Kristen has in the past not been happy with the idea of being clerk, and he is our vice chair who has been filling in as clerk since our last 4 or 5 clerks have left abruptly. So it's a bit of a cursed position. But Kristen's been filling in with that. But I know does not truly want to, is my understanding.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't say I've not been happy with it. I would just say I'm pretty busy and I would like for the opportunity to pass the torch.
So
Clerk
the clerk takes the minutes, so it takes notes on what's happening, and then sends them to everyone on the commission to look at after the meeting. And then after 3 days, they have to be posted publicly. So you just forward the email to Sharon in the town office, and then she posts them and does everything with them.
And also the clerk ends up often typing up communications that might be necessary, memos to the select board or whatnot, and also the annual report that goes in the town report for the Conservation Commission.
Right, and I think Katie was the clerk for a long time, and she used to do the agendas as well, but I can do the agendas, that's fine. I can take that. Otherwise, it's putting a lot on the clerk, I feel.
I mean, if no one else wants to, I'm happy to.
I think that would be lovely.
I am new. Is that?
No, we've had very new clerks before. As I said,
They all left, right? Is that why?
Consistently needing new clerks.
I know. It's like some kind of Harry Potter Defense the Dark Arts job.
Dark arts, right? I formally nominate Zaley Smith as clerk to relieve Kristen.
Is there a second?
I enthusiastically second that motion.
All right. If there is no further debate, I would like to open the vote for Zaley Smith to be the clerk. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All those opposed? Okay. The motion carries. And thank you for being the new clerk.
Figure out what to do.
Sink or swim.
Yeah.
Great.
I think basically, well, you can just don't look at Kristen's minutes. They're too beautiful. Look at the minutes from like a few months ago and you can do that.
Sounds good.
But we can talk more about that later if you want.
Yeah.
More specifics.
Just let me know when I'm not doing something that I should be doing.
Sounds good. So Kristen, would you like to stop taking minutes right now or do you want to continue for today?
Oh no, I don't think that would be appropriate.
Okay.
I'm already halfway done here, so.
Okay, so next meeting, that would be wonderful. Okay, great. So vice chair, I would like to make a motion that Kristen is the vice chair. All those, does anyone want to, I'm sorry, I'm already voting on it. Does anyone want to second that? Does anyone think that's a good idea besides me? Okay.
Fan, so to speak.
Okay, so let's vote for that then. Officially, all those in favor of Kristen being the vice chair. Okay, there's a lot of ayes, even from Helen.
Aye, yes.
Great, and then anyone opposed? No, all right, so Kristen, the motion will carry, you can be vice chair.
If I had an option, Kristen, if I could have snuck in a third part of that motion, I would have done it.
Awesome. Okay, great. So yeah, I know Kristen's really busy, but she's also like knows everything. So it's important that we keep. You do. Don't make that face. You know everything.
The one that's been here the longest, that's still remaining.
No, it's been a lot of turnover lately. I know. Okay, great. So that will wrap up our annual meeting portion of membership. Yes. Okay, great. Back to normal things. Bristol Trail Network. Are there any updates on the Bristol Trail Network? I don't remember having an update on that this week. Anyone else remember an email or anything? Nope. Okay, we'll just move on then. Let's talk about the. Oh, sorry. Go on, Jenna.
Carolyn, I'm just going to sneak in here that as a follow-up to the letter, which was sent in for Porter's behalf, principally about her work relating to the trail.
Oh, I forgot I did that. Yeah, right.
No. So I did submit it to the Legion, American Legion.
Oh, that letter. I think I sent her a rec letter too recently, but I forgot about it. Yes. Okay,
The
John,
above
I'm
and
sorry.
beyond, I double checked with Porter. I'm not sure if I got back to you or not. Sometimes but anyway, they have it. They've received it. And so they sometimes end up having more than one candidate that receives the award. At least that's what they indicated on the letter. So that's in. Thank you again for passing on the letter. I really didn't do a whole lot. I thought it might need to be, updated. I actually asked if Porter would be willing to look at it. She said, wow, sure. I just wanted to make sure it was putting our best foot forward. So that's exciting.
Nice. Well, thank you for doing that. That's great.
Do we
Sure.
know is there a timing when they would make a decision, or?
Yeah, well, it probably be fairly soon because the submission date was the 5th. So that's, about a week ago. They said something to the effect of at their dinner would be the presentation of the award, which I think is within this month, later in the month. I'd have to look at the letter. Let me see, Kristen, if I can check that, and I'll get back to you.
Cool. Okay, so then let's move on to parks updates. I think there was some movement on Eagle Park fishing platform, and then Alex, whatever you want to add as well.
Go ahead, Alex.
Sure.
And I can update later.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so most of the parks updates are relating to Sycamore Park. I know we've already talked about it a little bit, but one of the items, just to update the commission, Porter had reached out to the rec department asking for potential projects for summer interns that do trail work and do different types of Bristol Trail Network activities and whatnot this coming summer. So one of the possible areas that we related to Porter and her interns was there's the section of Sycamore Park, kind of like way on the west side where you cross like a little tiny stream and then you get to like the rocky beach area on the far end of the park. So like, yeah. Anyway.
Past the apple trees.
Yeah, past the apple trees. Then you want to cross over to the beach area and then it's like a big step down. And then it's like, you got to step over this. So anyway, it's just like potentially dangerous situation if it's really slippery mud or something like that, or if it's in the winter and somebody could step through some ice. So we had sort of forwarded that on to her as a potential place to do some trail maintenance and at the most do some sort of water passing. So either a platform or something, not changing anything land-wise, but adding something so that people don't slip on a log and go into mud. And I
think we had talked almost probably a year ago, and then because of COVID, it didn't happen. There was an intern, and we talked about maybe doing steps. Remember, right there. But then because of COVID, that all didn't happen. But was it the rec department had an intern we talked to with a V name or something?
Maybe there was, we did have an intern who was kind of splitting time between the rec department and the Bristol Trail Network.
He was from like UVM, and he was gonna put steps there with like some club or something from UVM, and that didn't happen because of COVID.
Right.
But anyhow, that's a great spot that needs attention. That's where it's a good plan.
Yeah. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And I think there's a meeting in April between the rec department and Porter and her intern, and maybe we'll go and walk the site. But I'll be updating the commission on that as far as that goes, if that's okay with everybody.
I mean, personally, I hate that muddy spot. It's really hard with toddlers to get down to the beach right there.
Yeah.
Near impossible.
Yeah. And then, the only other thing was for Sycamore Park, there's some widowmakers that we think need to be addressed. And so the plan is to contact John Swepston, and have him at some point when he's available. He's obviously very busy and going to be very busy, but have him come out and sort of do an assessment. And he's done work in the town green before, recently, a couple of years ago. So it's not on the one area in particular is pretty sketchy. So there's one main area, and then we'd obviously want him to do a quick kind of walkthrough, but the focus would be anything near highly trafficked trails. Before the next windstorm to safely take these down.
That's great. Yeah, I've been thinking that for a while now. There's one spot in particular where that field got covered in sand right there.
Yes, that's
really
the
bad.
one.
That's the really dangerous.
It's got like 3 or 4 within like a two or three tree area.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's really bad. In case you don't know, John Swepton is the tree warden for Bristol.
Yes.
And so he's a friend of the commission and the rec department.
And Alex, the Widowmakers, which park again was that at?
Sycamore.
Sycamore, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I'll pass it off.
Great.
So I have the information, Kristen, from the letter from Ron LaRose involving Porter Knight from the American Legion. It says, Legion is not restricting the number of nominations or honorees. Our executive board will determine who will be presented these awards. They make it sound like there's more than one that they're planning on. These awards will be presented in person, NLT, March 31st. I'm not sure what NLT means other than their building, but NLT, can't figure that out. So March 31st, I think, answers your question.
Okay, thanks, got it.
And then, Kristen, could you comment on the universal fishing platform?
Yeah, so to back up a bit, there was quite a bit of damage at the park that occurred during the Halloween storm in 2019.
Eagle Park, we're talking about.
At Eagle Park, and the damage occurred to the ramp, the access ramp for the universal fishing platform, but also damage occurred to the platform itself. It was wrenched partly free from its mount on the boulders. That storm had an emergency declaration by FEMA, and so funding to make repairs is available through FEMA. But then COVID hit, and that delayed FEMA inspections and so forth, so that park has remained in a state of disrepair since the Halloween storm, as we await word from FEMA and FEMA made inspections. So Pete Domenico, who our past member of the commission, was spearheading those repairs and the coordination with FEMA and the town. And then he passed away in December. So Dave Henderson and I have stepped up to help with that coordination. And we're just hearing this week from FEMA that they have, there's a deadline, I think, in July, which could be extended, but they're asking, they've provided an idea of repairs and cost estimates that they're willing to make. And so Dave and I just need to get together with Valerie Caples and understand the paper trail up until this point, and then begin to coordinate estimates for the repair work to be done. And in all likelihood, I imagine we'll ask for an extension of the time, because to get contractors to make those repairs before July 31st would be probably, our chances will be low probably of that happening, just because contractors are in high demand right now. So Dave and I will work with Valerie over the next couple of weeks and begin to get things coordinated.
Thanks. Anything else about parks updates? Good. Okay, great. Emerald Ash Borer Strategic Planning Committee. Jenna's the liaison to that committee, and Alex, I believe, is heading that committee right now. And Helen, just so you know, Alex lives in Heinsberg. Otherwise, we would have gotten him to join officially, but he just comes to the meetings and is a close friend of the commission instead.
So yeah, just a real quick update. The written plan has been submitted to Valerie today, so to be reviewed by the select board, and that'll happen on the 29th, or the next, not this coming Monday, but like the next select board meeting after that, which was kind of our goal. So we'll get feedback from the select board and continue on, hopefully implementing that plan. Action would happen as soon as this sort of spring and summer, but we've kind of backed off some of the initial removal of trees to make that happen later on, just because the way that everything's moving is a little bit slower. So, that was kind of a anticipated reduction in the initial wave of removals. There's a few trees that are still the top priority trees. Those haven't changed, but we're just kind of backloading the plan a little bit more. And other than that, the commission's been, or the Emerald Ash Borer Committee has been helpful and going through the written plan and making suggestions. And now we kind of start pushing it through the different hoops that we have to. So, yeah. It's kind of going to be boring updates until we get to have a plan approved. And then I think I've mentioned before, but one of the next future steps is going to be there's a public information session on Emerald Ash Borer, which would involve kind of presenting the plan for Bristol, but also it would just be general information. And that's something we have to do with the grant, and that would probably happen sometime late spring, early summer of this year.
Okay, cool, thanks. Anything else? Is that, we're good? Okay, let's move on to winter scavenger hunt. Okay, I've got them here. There were 17, which is way more than our bingo. And we're supposed to draw 5 of them. Now, one of them is from a preschool that says they won last time and that they don't want to be considered. But I'm like, if they get pulled, I think we can overrule that. It's a whole preschool of kids. So I'm just going to ignore that if they come up. But I don't know. Some of them are really cute. Like someone spent like a lot of time like making notes. A lot of them are signed by kids. One of them definitely is signed by like a toddler who's like, and then has like they're really cute. I wish you in person you could just see like all printed different kinds of paper, different kinds of like a lot of children with just like crazy markings, and it's all very fun and sweet. So Marita, who was helping collect these at the Lawrence Livermore Library, just wanted to like thank us and say that this was really nice. Everyone would turn one in, who turned one in was talking to her and all excited about how great this was and stuff. So it seemed like a really nice thing to do. And we just want to thank the National Bank of Middlebury for paying for the Bristol Bucks prizes. So what I thought we would do is I would pick 5 of them. Each one would get a $20 Bristol Bucks. The only thing is, what are logistics here? We have the names and the mailing addresses for everyone, because the emails didn't work so well last time. So we're just gonna get their name and I guess like make out a Bristol Buck to them and then mail it to their house. Is that sort of the plan in terms of logistics? Jono, I know you secured the funding. Do you have the money? Does Kristen have it? Like what's going to do this?
I have the envelope with the certificates, so I can pass those to you. Just drop them off when you'd like.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and then I'll just mail those out. That sounds great since I have all the hard copies. That's perfect. Okay, great. Well, I'm just gonna shuffle these some more. And then I guess I'll pick them. If we didn't say people who won last time couldn't win this time, because I did notice there were repeats of the same people. So we'll just let that happen. Just try to split these all up. Okay, I'm gonna cut it one more time, flip it over. I'll pull from the back. All right, so we have Grayson, who drew all these pictures of like things. Look at that. Got his leaf and his acorn, his snowman there. Very cute. Okay, that's one. Oliver and Amelia. Oh, look at their little names. Look how cute. Okay, so that's another one. Caleb and Susan Hatch. Seems like it has adult handwriting. I don't know if it was adults or not. Adults are allowed to win too. Matea O'Brien from Starksboro. Why not? All right. That's 4. And the last one is Emma Rooker, who won last time. I think she's like 3. So that's fun.
She's on a roll.
She's on a roll.
This
Yeah.
is all being filmed now, so there can be no accusations of any kind of hijinks. You shuffled them. It's on.
You saw me shuffle them. Exactly. Emma's just she's just good. Like, who knew, you know? Apparently, she was very excited and took her money and went to Simon Says. It was like the first time she ever like bought something, and they said it was very cute. Okay, cool. So we have 5 winners. Jono, get me the Bristol books, and I can send those out. I don't think I should send. What should we do at Front Porch Forum? We didn't ask, or at least their names. Should we just say like, "Yay, thank you," like, and not put names? Just say like, we picked 5 winners. Should we put their first names? Thoughts? Maybe I'll just say thanks for participating.
Maybe their first names.
Right, we can do first names.
They'd probably get a kick out of seeing their first names.
Right. Okay, I'll write like an email, a Front Porch Forum that says first names only, and says that the winners will receive their things soon, and like thank you to everyone for helping, participating, or something. It'll be like a nice, happy email. Perfect.
And the
Okay.
Bacon Middlebury.
And say the national. Definitely. Okay. And then what about any debrief about this?
Before you go further, Carolyn, what is your address?
Should I say it if we're filmed for the one person that
You can
I live at 84 Fred Johnson.
Fred Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a road.
All right.
It exists. It's off Lower Notch.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so debrief thoughts. I mean, this is sort of a COVID thing to do, get people outside. You know, we couldn't do a really big lecture series or anything in person, so we did this and the bingo. The bingo one had fewer people that did it, but also people were very enthusiastic about it. We could do another one of these if we wanted, like once it gets to be more springtime, or not. We're supposed to use that operating budget of $300, or we're not going to get it in the future. So we do need to think about small good things that we can spend money on. Thoughts, comments? Let's just move on then. All right, so next thing is illegal upper notch dump site. I don't have updates, and I'm usually with updates on this, so I'm assuming there's no updates. Perfect. I'm supposed to call him and get in touch back in April, so I'll just do that. We'll table it till then. Website updates. I think everything's updated, and then when Helen joins, we can update her on there, but otherwise we should be good. Oh, and I wanted to put that thing on, the Edith Stock thing. We want to add to that Parks website. Should do that. Perfect. Oh, and then Green Up Day. Why are mine all together? Parks website. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then Green Up Day, March 1st. I don't think I've done anything this month. I think I had to send in a bunch of paperwork, still waiting to hear back on what's happening. it's just going to be a small, easy year this year. I'm still going to try to get in contact with some teachers, but I don't know what our participation is going to be like. Certainly there's a lot of garbage on the roadsides because of the Green Up Day last year being postponed and then sparsely attended in comparison to a normal year. But, there's only so much we can do given social distancing and the uncertainties. We are supposed to get posters, and Sally has offered to help hang those up. Maybe we'll go for a walk when it's nice. We do it together. But yeah, I guess that's all that's happening right now. We're just probably next month will be April, and that'll be the big push where I'll have like a lot of updates about that because it's just a little too soon still. Edith Stock Trust, anyone about Green Up Day? Comments on Green Up Day? No comments on Green Up Day, great. Edith Stock Trust, we just talked about. Lewis Creek Association presentation, details and planning updates.
Yeah, so it's going to be the 22nd at 7 o'clock. Kate Kelly just got back to me last night with an advertisement for Front Porch Forum. Should I send that to you all to make sure that it looks good to you before posting it, or should I go ahead and post it?
You can use your best judgment. If it seems strange, you can ask us, but you just go for it.
I just glanced at it. It looks pretty straightforward, but she wants to have, so she set up a registration form that she put a link to there so that she was worried about video bombing. And so wanted to have people sign up and then send them the link. So that's on there. She already set that up. I haven't clicked on the link, but I will just to make sure that it looks like it works, but I'm sure it does. And yeah, other than that, I think she's going to take care of the presentation part. So we just show up and look at it if you want to.
So she was going to do the water. What was it? She was going to do like a water quality presentation. And then was that her colleague going to talk about invasives? Is that happening? Or I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
We could fill it out more and they could get like, a little more.
Yeah. So so we had originally suggested that we could find other people too. And she didn't want that. She wanted it to be a standalone event.
Okay.
But yeah, she has a colleague involved in it. And I think that they are both taking part in that. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, Matt Gordon.
Yeah, Matt Gordon is agreed to return and give his presentation too. So we'll be hearing about both water quality and aquatic invasives in Bristol Pond efforts. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it should be great.
And what was that date and time again?
So it is the 22nd at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
March 22nd. Yeah. So I'll post that right away on Front Porch Forum.
And then do like reminders, like.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you generally post it a few times when you're.
Yeah. I think, is there some rule on Front Porch Forum that you can't do it more than 3 or before it gets scrubbed or something?
I'll look and see.
I feel like there's some of that. Because when I did the thing about the 4th of July, people took turns doing it because otherwise it could get, if it's from one account, you can get in trouble or something.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you get like, I think it's like 3 in a month or every few weeks or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's coming up pretty quick. So I could only put so many in anyway.
Right. You might also talk to, who else posts about the town? Like, does Rec do that kind of thing? Or the library might be interested on their website. You can talk to Coco at the library.
Okay.
What else? Bristol Core often posts like things that are just happening, just sort of to show how lively the town is.
Okay. So Bristol Core in the library.
I think so. I'm trying to think what else. Any other ideas?
The recreation department can post something. We usually, for stuff like that, like sort of other organizations will put a link on Facebook since we have a decent local reach with that. So we'd be happy to do that.
Should I send you the link or the little ad that she gave me then?
Yeah, that would work.
Great.
And what are you, your recreation at Bristol VT or something?
Yeah. I'll put
It's on the emails.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great. Perfect.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Anything else you need for that?
I don't think so. I think we'll
Okay.
just be advertising and
Cool. Sounds good. That'll be nice. Nice,
Yeah.
something nice we can like do during COVID to like do
Yeah.
something. Always good.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be interesting too.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Thank you for taking the lead on that. And then under new business, this is something that I came up with that I thought we had talked about, months ago, was that we should think about the town plan. So this was an idea I had, and you can disagree with this, but when we did there's this town plan that gets done every few years, right? And the 2020 town plan was just approved at this town meeting day. And so I was thinking that we should, after we went through the wording, we made sure we liked it, or that it was strong enough, or that it was appropriate, or whatever that we thought was best serving the town. And we helped the planning commission do some of that work. And I thought it would be good for us to go back through that, because they actually list different entities that are in charge of doing some of the goals in the town plan. So I thought it would be nice if we took time, not right now, because it's a little homeworky, but maybe to just go through that document and look at the places where the Conservation Commission is listed as like being on the hook for a certain goal, or and then we could say like, are we going to do it, or do we have a timeline of when we're going to do this, or not? Because we sort of talked with some ideas like, oh, we could do a pamphlet, or oh, we could do a outreach speaker. But it's like, well, are we going to? Or so that was nice to just revisit those. Not everyone was obviously even on the commission when we last were working on those. So that'd be nice just to see sort of what the town plan expects the Conservation Commission is doing. If you think that's an okay idea, we could screen share and I could show you how to find that document too. Or if you think it's like a terrible idea, we can just drop it. I'm fine with either.
I think it'd be interesting to know as new members. It'd be interesting to know what the expectation from the town is. And that.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Let me do a screen. Let me do a screen share, and we can look at that briefly. So this is the town's website. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So this right here is the 2020 town report. And it's 121 pages long, which you don't have to read all of. Is this the right one I wanted? I think this is the right one. Oh, is this what I wanted? No, that's the report. I need the town plan. Sorry. I changed the links on me. Oh no, it was right here, like days ago. All right, we got to find the town plan. The town plan is somewhere on this website. Maybe under documents. Oh, for crying out loud. All right, well, I'm gonna have to find that. This now is filmed where you can see me not accomplishing anything. Share. But I will just talk about it. There's the town plan, and there's different things. There's several different chapters that are actually about there's one about natural resources specifically that actually is worth a read, because it's pretty cool to see all the maps of, oh, this is town, this is where the green spaces are, this is where there's different migration paths and things. So that's really cool to see, just to like read it and think about what are the important parcels that we want to conserve that are available still, that aren't developed, and whether or not they're important or not. Like, just because it has trees, is it important to a species or to anything, right? So some of that's really neat to look through. And then there's also a section on something with flood. Kristen, do you remember what that chapter's on? The second chapter we were talking about? It's about like water, right? It's the chapter right after natural resources, I think.
I don't recall offhand.
I don't recall right now.
But I was just on the website finding it. It's under the planning and zoning section of the website.
Let's go back. Under planning and zoning. On the left-hand side, there we go. Planning and zoning.
If you click on planning and zoning there and scroll down, there's no, that's not it.
Town report, I keep saying. Here's the.
No, there you go. Well, actually what you're viewing is different than what I was able to see.
Carolyn, you can try planning commission too.
Yeah, planning commission, maybe that was it. There you go.
Oopsie, sorry.
Planning commission and
Yeah, keep scrolling down. Yeah.
there you go. The proposed.
This one. There we go. Okay. Well, you had it like see, I have done it first. Okay, so this is even longer. This is 169. But not to worry. Although I do really read the entire thing on accident.
Your audio, Carolyn, has gone a little bit.
Did I turn into a robot?
Yeah, you sound like a robot.
I'll go back. What if I can leave up the beginning ending? Let me try.
Well, at least we're close to the end.
That was closing the meeting. So is that any better? It's probably not any better.
It's about the same. Yeah. That's okay. We could. Should we? I mean, I think we're mostly done, right?
Done. And
This is why you have a co-chair. Kristen,
Yeah.
you just interpret everything for us. We can't understand a word she's saying.
Yeah. Carolyn, I think it would be a fine idea to next time for April meeting. Maybe if we do our homework in preparation for that meeting and just review through the list of tasks, goals, and maybe each of us come with an idea for priority tasks. We can add that to the agenda for the April meeting.
And to add to that, Kristen, would Carolyn, would you be willing or someone to send that document to be able to have that?
Carolyn will send a link. Okay. And then I believe we have no other items on the agenda.
How fortuitous that, Kristen, you're so ready to step in.
Look in the chat. Yeah. Carolyn's going to send the link for the town plan to each of us so that we can do our homework by April. So I'll take a motion for an adjournment if everyone's ready.
Sounds good.
Do I have a motion?
Carolyn says I agree in the chat box.
Carolyn
this is too
I'll take
comical.
that.
I'll second the motion.
Carolyn has made the motion. Jono has seconded. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Okay. Adjourned at
No abstentions
7:17. That's
either.
pretty good.